Welcome to Sit and Stay, the podcast that breaks down the challenges of starting and maintaining a mental health practice into digestible chapters. Sit and Stay is presented by RipsyTech, an electronic health record company committed to addressing the mental health crisis in the United States.
Hello and welcome back to the Sit and Stay podcast brought to you by RipsyTech. I am RipsyTech's very own product manager, Parker Anderson, and as always, I am joined by Tom Tarshis, founder and CEO of RipsyTech. Hey, Tom.
Hey, Parker. Parker, do you think we have enough RipsyTech podcast bloopers to put together a real
RipsyTech podcast bloopers?
Get 10 million likes on TikTok? Probably not.
You know, there actually is a YouTube short that exists of us, you and me, trying to put together our thumbnail faces, which, if you haven't seen that, go check it out. It's actually on our YouTube channel. Pretty embarrassing stuff, but it's got like 800 views or something like that. Okay, so this is a podcast in which we discuss a whole bunch of different stuff relating to mental health practice. Before we dive into the episode today, which I think is going to be a pretty interesting topic because it's something that we struggle with our customers collectively all the time. And it's going to be interesting. But before we dive in, some quick updates. We do have our RipsyTech's Start Your Own Practice course at ripsytech.com/practice. We highly recommend, if you're thinking about starting a private practice, do go check that out. Give us feedback. We would love some feedback if there's anything that you feel like wasn't covered in that course. We would love to hear that. And or if you want to send us a success letter in the mail or via email at sitandstay@ripsytech.com, letting us know how helpful it was, we would appreciate that too. Okay, so today's episode, we are discussing, what feels kind of like a juicy topic that really shouldn't be as juicy as it is, which is fee schedules with insurance companies, in particular. As a provider who maybe runs their own private practice, who takes insurance, we're talking about the concept of actually knowing what the fee schedule is. And that, I'll leave it there to have you kind of answer the question of, Tom, what is a fee schedule and why does this matter?
Yeah, and Parker, with the lead in about the private practice course, I'm realizing, our goal is to then have sort of level 2. And this is actually not something we cover in the private practice course because we're sort of focusing on starting a cash practice. And we talk a lot about putting together a charge master, or what you're going to charge for each service, which interestingly is something else that many clinics don't actually have a formal charge master. But the fee schedule, this is when you're doing a great thing for the world and you are fighting with and accepting insurance from an insurance carrier. So you're saying, I am going to take this on, even as solo or a small group, or even if it's a large group. Then, right, you have your charge master, what you charge for your services if someone doesn't have insurance. But the fee schedule is that for every insurer for whom you get a contract, the fee schedule is what they are going to pay you for each of those services. And everyone here has been to the doctor before, and everyone here has seen a complicated medical EOB, or explanation of benefits. I was actually listening to Kai Rizdal's Marketplace popular podcast, where he had on a PhD in data analytics, who jokingly made the comment, even with my skills, I can't understand these medical EOB statements, which made me feel pretty good about RipsyTech and what we're trying to do. But when you negotiate with an insurance company, you're like, hey, our clinic charges $300 for, I'm not going to say for 30 minutes at a time. I'm going to say for CPT code 99214. But we will accept $150 from an insurance company. and I'm going to come back to that, but you work off your charge master, you negotiate the rate, and then whatever your rates are for that insurance company, that is your fee schedule for that insurance company. And what, side note, this is a business negotiation. And when the insurance company tells you this is what we pay, you say, I don't think so. You can pay more. Separate topic, and we've covered that before a little bit. But and Parker, we were going to do a different topic today, but I was, we're kind of fired up about this, because when you're providing a service, you need to know what you're getting paid, and that this is where insurance companies take advantages of clinicians, because lacking that business training, often people will go all the way through and say, oh yeah, I'm in network with insurance company X, and then we are like, okay, well, what are your rates, so we can help you put them in the EHR. And so many times people don't know. And if you think about any other business, you don't start a business and not know what you're getting paid. That's a basic business rule. Let me stop. I'm already feeling so boxy, Parker.
No, it's all really good stuff. It's funny. This is such a funny thing, because earlier I noticed you said, oh, you're choosing to, fight with the insurance fight and work with the insurance companies. And I know for you, it really is kind of a fight with the insurance companies. But I wonder if everybody views it the same way. I wonder if people think of it like a fight, or if it's something that they're more so surrendering to, which is why they just accept the rates that they might be given, which then might lead to the animosity over what the rates actually are. Because it's like, well, if I can just see my patients, then I'll get reimbursed whatever the insurance reimburses, which does seem to be kind of the overwhelming attitude that we see. I mean, we're an EHR company, but I think, like, compared to our competitors, we're very hands-on with setting up our clients, and we're very involved, and we like to ask a lot of questions and help people really understand everything about their business. And through that experience, it's like overwhelmingly the people who take insurance, I want to say maybe, like 1 out of 10 people actually know what's on their fee schedule, just from our experience of signing people up alone. Because this has been a recurring thing, to the point it's like, it's no longer a trend, it's no longer a theory, it's like this, it's like a law. Like, this is just like how it works. Like, people just don't know.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting, although you use the word surrender, Parker, which also has sort of fight or battle connotations, or
Touché.
Yeah, but even if you've surrendered and I'm going to go in network with insurance company X, right? You still need to know what you're surrendering to. It's sort of interesting that piece of just even knowing what you're going to get paid for the service, that we don't see people knowing that. And it is, I think we're trying to educate people. I think you're right. If we're a standard, EHR company, what people do with their business is their business. And, that's true for us too, but I think we're a different sort of heart and soul social justice company. So when we see, it is a social justice issue to fight with the insurance companies until there's laws that require proper compensation. But so it hurts us to see people being taken advantage of, or something happening that's going to hurt your business planning and budget and being successful. And the basic, what is in the starting a private practice course, is doing a budget. You can't do a budget if you don't know how much money you're earning for a service provided.
Right. Okay. So let's talk about that, and why, as somebody who's running a business, where could that lead to things going wrong?
Well, What would you say?
Economics 101. I don't, what would I say? How that could lead to going
Well,
things
let's
going
just let's even not talk about a private practice. Parker, pick a business you visited in the last few days.
Grocery store.
Okay. Okay, great example. So someone, let's say we were starting the Ripsy grocery store, and we put all sorts of good products on the shelf, but we're not going to put prices on them, and we'll just see what money we get or what we get paid. How would that be a problem for Ripsy's grocery store venture?
I mean, it sounds like people would just steal from us. Probably.
Yes, I love that answer. Yes, that is, on a basic level, that is what, if you're not asking, people are gonna take advantage. And I'm okay using the word steal with how the for-profit insurance companies are going to try to work the situation. So that's one piece. The other piece is, hey, we just spent $100,000 making this really great, lovely grocery store. How could we possibly know how many apples we need to sell, or how many of our homemade deli sandwiches with special pesto sauce are going to help us get to the break-even mark? So you can't do the basic income revenue predictions that help you plan your business and know it's going to work, and you open yourself up to being stolen from or taken advantage of. And that is, yeah, go ahead.
So I guess, like, I mean, something that I'm wondering, because it is like an EHR feature for us to put in your rate schedule. How much is this provider level reimbursed for this CPT code with this insurance company? And I guess I'm just wondering, like, is this really not a universal feature across all billing systems, or at least are people just not, like, I get, because we tell people, it's really important that you know this, because you could just submit a claim and you don't really have a way of knowing that the insurance company is paying you exactly how much is in your contract without having that in there. So I guess, is that really the case? Like, is that just something that is want to happen? The insurance
Yeah,
company's not paying fully.
right. Well, and there's two pieces there, Parker, that even if you've surrendered and are accepting rates that are significantly less than what your services are worth, you still need to know what that number is, because I would, maybe often is not the right term, but you will be paid wrong, 100% guaranteed, out of 100 claims submitted. And we have some data on this, right? But you're looking at 5% plus or minus. There's other things about insurance providers and things like that, but you will be paid wrong. There will be errors, and some of that is technology, and it's a complicated system, etc. The cynical answer is, hey, we're gonna, the for-profit people are going to try to intentionally not pay correct, because that's better for their bottom line. But there are actually two pieces here that, if you don't know what you're being paid, you put yourself at risk of being underpaid. You also, if claims are denied and money doesn't come in, you're less likely to know you haven't been paid at all. And the third piece is that there are times where you do actually get overpaid. And if you're not aware of those overpayments and you don't put that money aside, you can be unpleasantly surprised when the next month you get, hey, you owe us $5,000. Pay us now, or we're taking the money out of all your future claims. And we see that happen also. So those are all very unpleasant things to happen, that all stem from not knowing what you're supposed to be paid for your services from the insurance companies.
Okay, wow. Yeah, just processing all of that. I guess if I'm somebody who's listening right now and I'm realizing, wait a minute, that's me. I don't know. I take insurance. I don't know. How can I find out? What should I go do?
Yeah, so this is not always an easy thing to do, but you did sign a contract, and as I was saying that, I'm like, well, even that's not always the case. Someone may have signed on your behalf without you knowing. But there is some contract between your entity, whatever it is, from a solo practice to corporation, because there needs to be the HIPAA rules and other basic contract information about providing the service and what the rules are within there. So if you have a contract, look at the contract and see if you can find an email or someone's name or whoever co-signed that contract. That will be a person to potentially reach out to about, hey, I realize we don't have a fee schedule for what our reimbursement is. So that's strategy one. It's often hard to, emailing someone, calling the insurance company. If you have an internet login to your provider, which I would venture to say a lot of people who don't know their fee schedule potentially don't, but most of them do have a way to try to request a fee schedule. Although, Parker, and I think you've experienced this also, sometimes when you go to that fee schedule request through the internet provider, you get a error, could not download your fee schedule, or it doesn't work as smoothly as just log in and here's all your rates.
Well, yeah, I had a situation this morning with a customer where I was trying to help them figure out what their fee schedule might be, and they were, I mean, they were nice enough to like share their screen, and we kind of together we went digging through their email and we couldn't find anything, but we were finding like little hints and things, and it was like a little investigation that we did together, and I kind of realized like, okay, like if we weren't sitting down and doing this together right now, like this is probably not something that this individual would have ever thought to go looking for, or would have been able to know like how to even start this process of knowing where to go. We did land on, or at least when you Google this to try and find out, a very common thing that I see listed is Availity, and having a login through Availity, which just seems like a lot of the insurance companies have provided for people. But even then, it was like, oh, the business wasn't registered. And then once we did that, then it was like the fee schedule, like nothing was displaying. So, okay, a request needs to get put in somewhere that I found on the insurance of that specific state's version of that insurance website. Yeah, I mean, it was still kind of like, okay, fingers crossed, like that this is a lead. Because we know your insurance, we know you're in network with this insurance because you have sent claims to this insurance before. But yeah, I don't know. It's like we're getting the ball rolling, but it's like, wait, what? Why is this so hard?
Yeah. Well, and Availity, it's a clearinghouse, and
right.
it is the clearinghouse that's on our back end for RipsyTech. The nice thing about Availity is that there are many insurances that utilize Availity. Among them, Anthem, Blue Cross Blue Shield, not Blue Shield of California, but the sort of Blue Cross Blue Shield that exists in every other state. Aetna, there are some other big ones that they actually may not even have their own separate login, but you go to Availity and it's a place where you can do, look at claims and maybe try to get fee schedules and things like that. For other insurance companies, and there are a lot of insurance companies, Parker, that might be a good, the number of insurance companies and the number of plans within insurance companies, that would be a mind-boggling thing to try to do a podcast on. But yeah, so right, the this idea that everyone should get a login, whether it's through Avality or through a different website for every insurance they're with, so that you can log in and look at claims and benefits information directly. And we sort of do this EDI, electronic data interchange, setup with Avality. So on some level, Ripsy clients, you wouldn't need to log in very often, but we want people to have that information because data interchange, and it's not perfect. So having more than one source of truth helps with the practice. But okay, right. So you did this. Can you log in somewhere and get the fee schedules is one possible solution. So you email or try to reach a voice person to send to you, which they should do. We've tried the electronic piece. The final piece, and this is actually the lesson as well when you take insurance, that because of the 100 different plans per each insurance, you never really know what you're getting paid till you get your payment back from the insurance company. So the final way to actually establish what you're getting paid for each CPT code is after you bill it, you will get paid. And then if you see that same payment amount more than once, you could say, okay, this is hopefully the rate that's ours.
This is what you were talking about before we started recording the episode.
Yeah. And then, the one caveat here is when you submit a healthcare claim, you don't actually charge the amount that you're getting reimbursed on the fee schedule. You charge what your out-of-network non-insurance amount would be from your charge master. So there is an issue where, okay, if you're getting paid $200 for CPT code 99214, if you put on the claim that you're only charging $150, they'll only pay you $150. So the one caveat here is, though your charge master, you could put $10,000 for every CPT code, and then they'll still just pay you what's in the fee schedule, and that number sort of doesn't matter. So if you've been getting back a payment and it matches the number you're putting on as your charge master, you're probably due more money.
So is this something that actually, like, as a patient, you can see in like the explanation of benefits that you get from your insurance, when it's kind of like it'll say like you owe this much, or maybe it's from the provider. It's like a complicated breakdown where you're like, whoa, they charged that much. But okay, cool, shakes out, I only owe $20.
Well, Parker, so the EOB, or explanation of benefits, that is something you get from the insurance company. It's not something that a practice needs to provide to their patients.
Right. Okay.
So practice needs to provide both a super bill when requested, and you should also have a receipt that has other information as well. And so, on that explanation of benefits, and people who've done anything in a hospital, especially, or had an emergency room visit, what you'll see on that is you went for this CPT code to this place, and here's what the hospital charged, and it might say hospital or clinic $8,500. And you're like, oh my gosh, for 12 minutes at the emergency room, it was $8,500. Then you'll see another column that's usually called, it's like in-network discount or adjustment or write-off, or I forget the language. It's different facing depending on who you're communicating it to. But that might say $7,800. And then you're left with then it goes, the insurance company then had made a deal that they're only paying $700, not $8,500. And from your insurance, they're covering 80%. So they paid $560 of it, and you owe $140. And that's your co-insurance for the visit. I don't know how well that translates on a podcast. I'd say the one thing, the other thing that ties in here, and this is another podcast episode, this is why we seem to never run out of topics to discuss, but more and more people are signing up for these high deductible insurance plans, which
right.
means that $700 that the insurance would have paid, they're not paying any of that until you reach your $5,000 deductible. So even if you're fully in network with insurances and you don't need to give patients notification from the No Surprises Act, if you have decent rates and you give someone a monthly bill and you're like, hey, that's $2,000, they'll say like, what are you talking about? What about my insurance? And well, it's a high deductible plan, and people can still be frustrated and not know that they are responsible for that because of the plan they chose from their employer because it was the cheapest, the lowest deduction out of their paycheck, without understanding what that meant.
Yeah, I'm not embarrassed to admit that it took me longer than I care to admit in my adult life to understand what my deductible was. So when my first few appointments for, I don't know, therapy, for example, was pretty high. Yeah. It took me a second to get why that was happening at the beginning of the year. And then you hit the deductible and okay, cool, $30. Yeah. So if it took me that long and I am on a podcast, I feel like it's not uncommon that a lot of people get confused about that. Fingers crossed. Maybe that makes me feel better about myself. All right. Tom, are there anything, in the interest of time, is there anything else that you would like to discuss on this topic before moving on?
Yeah, I think it's, everything that's set up or what we recommend about setting up the practice has to deal with, what is that? If you're going to take insurance, what is the reimbursement going to be like? And knowing your fee schedule helps you with that entire budget and planning, and knowing what is reasonable reimbursement that other providers are getting. And so making the decision to take insurance, I feel like it's been pushed out there that, well, this just means it's like charity to do this, and we will get paid. Like you said, we'll get paid what we get paid, and we're doing it for our patients. And I want to help people shift that. No, you need to be compensated appropriately. You can get compensated appropriately, and working with your fee schedules is the critical data point to know where to negotiate and what to put on. And if you have been trapped into a fee schedule that you don't know or never negotiated, you're not stuck with it. You can terminate those contracts. You can talk to your patients about it. And then you can go back to the insurance company and negotiate, and you can say, hey, I accepted your bottom rates for X amount of time. I've seen all these patients of yours. Time to pay me correctly, or I'm going to give them all your personal cell number. No, not. It is a negotiation point to get properly compensated moving forward.
I would love to see like some kind of survey about like the motivations for taking insurance. And I don't know if I need to know. I need to know a reason why it is that, like, because as you put it, it's, like, oh, I'm doing this like charitable thing. And maybe that mindset just kind of like results in like, it's not, I don't need to do a budget. Yeah, what I get paid for the services that I provide, it's like maybe it's my side hustle. Like I have a main job at a hospital, and then I see like 5 patients on the weekend or something like that. And then I get paid whatever I get paid extra from doing that. I don't. I'm so curious. I'm so curious because I really think that the people who sit down and think about it, from a business and a budgeting perspective, and like, where am I being disadvantaged and what exactly should I be getting paid and how do I best support myself? I mean, granted, doctors make more money than other people do. But at the same, like, it is, you could probably be making more money. I don't, even as somebody that takes insurance. I think it's a really interesting topic. I feel like we could do like 4 podcasts on this topic. But we should, in the interest of time, we should wrap things up.
Gotcha. Well, and just to note, Parker, we serve many non-doctor mental health clinicians.
That is true. We do. I think especially, well, yeah. I think especially like as a non-medical doctor provider, it's like critical that you are doing this. I mean, it's critical that you're doing this regardless, but I appreciate mental health providers in all forms. So, okay, this has been a very interesting episode. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up right here. So thank you for joining us in this week's episode of the Sit and Stay podcast, brought to you by RipsyTech. If you have any questions or you're interested in being a guest on the show, please send us an email at sitandstay@ripsytech.com. And if you've listened this far into the episode, please leave us a like, a subscribe, a follow, a 5-star rating, whatever it is on whatever platform. Just do it. It really helps out our show. And if there's another mental health provider out there that you think would benefit from hearing this information, please share it with them. All right, Tom, I will see you next time.
Thank you, Parker. Have a good one.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Sit and Stay podcast. Until we meet again, we invite you to sit and stay with the ideas and stories shared today. Dive deeper into how RipsyTech can support your practice by visiting us at RipsyTech.com.